Good morning, dear Stitchers. It's Judy Whitman with JBW Designs, and I am back after a very long time away. It has been over 2 months since I last recorded a video, and so I feel like I'm going to be quite rusty, so bear with me, right? I want to welcome you back to my channel. We have some new subscribers, which is always wonderful. People that have not seen my work before, so that's always fun. I love reading your comments, your emails, and I'm so grateful for all of you who take the time to write. It really makes making videos all worthwhile. So where have I been? As you know, if you watched my last video, the Nashville market was at the beginning of March, and so I recorded a video in mid-February thinking, oh, I'll come back and I'll just do one more video before I go. And I should realize that that doesn't happen, because getting ready for Nashville, not only packing everything and shipping it, is really quite a job. For one thing, and our market has changed over the years, so now many shops place orders, pre-orders, before we even leave for market. And so we try to get all those orders packed before we go, and it makes the last week just crazy nutsy. So that's what I was doing, getting ready, which takes much longer than I always remember. And then after I got back from market, I was only home for a couple of days, and then my husband and I went to Florida for a few weeks. And this is something we do every year. It's a wonderful chance for me to recharge my batteries and kind of have strength to come back and get back to work, which I love doing. It's not that I don't love it, it's just sometimes you need a little break. So while I was down in Florida, I have a wonderful group of friends who are avid stitchers, and I was able to meet with them 3 different times, and there are they live down there, and so they meet regularly, and they include me in their group, and we have such fun together. And of course, when stitchers get together, what do we talk about? It's non-stop stitching chatter, and I love that. So that was great fun. And then before I begin today, it's been a while, but I want to give a tribute to Jean Lee, who was the owner of the Attic Needlework in Mesa, Arizona. She was one of my very favorite shop owners, just so lovely and kind and warm. And I only saw her, of course, once a year. I always looked forward to being able to chat with her, and I really missed her this year. And as many of you, most of you know, she passed away in January after a long battle with cancer. So I just wanted to pay tribute to her. I don't know if many of you might know this already, but before the Nashville market opened, all of the vendors were asked to dress in red, which was Jean's very favorite color, and we all congregated on the balconies that are outside of our rooms. And so there were 4 floors of people all dressed in red, paying tribute to Jean before the market opened. And I thought that was such a nice way to honor her legacy. She was incredible, so we miss her. Let's see, what are my updates on the Nashville market? First of all, it was great, and we are still not done, and I know I can't complain, entering orders into the computer from market. It's kind of funny, we do the orders at market, of course, but because we're in such a rush, when we get back here, all the orders have to be entered into the computer to see if we've made mistakes in our math. And yes, we have. Sometimes I owe people money, and other times we forgot to charge them for something. So thankfully, while I'm gone, my neighbor Sue, thank goodness for her, comes over and handles everything here while I'm gone. So she's entering orders, shipping orders, putting kits together. She was swamped this time. So it's taken us a long time to kind of finish up all the paperwork, but hopefully we'll be done with that by the end of the week. So what were my most popular releases? I'm just going to quickly show you the models again. I can't remember in my last video if I showed you the booklets or not. I don't even remember. I don't think they were ready then. So I'll show you the models and show you what the booklets look like and talk to you about what was the best seller, which is always fun to hear. So I had two bestsellers. I would say number one had to be the Georgian floral basket. It struck a chord. I never know when you release designs like what is going to sell well, but this is the design. It was stitched on a 36 count R&R linen, American chestnut in DMC colors. I have a couple pictures to show you because people have been sending in pictures of their finished work, and one of the gals framed it, and so when I was in Florida, I actually decided I wanted to restitch this model, and I left a larger margin around the edge, and I'm going to frame my next model, and I'll show you a picture in a minute. It just looks wonderful, reframed. So this is what the booklet looks like. Lots of colors, lots of color changes as you're stitching the piece, but the way it turns out, I think it's all worth it. So that was probably number one bestseller. The second bestseller, you probably won't be surprised about, was the Around Bees design. And this is what that booklet looks like. This is the model on the cover that's stitched over two and mounted in a little tin. I'll show you that in a minute. My over two model was stitched on an antique white 36 count linen, and then I did it over one on a 25 count Lugana. So let me share those models with you because they really turned out well. So this is the model over two, and then this is, I love the models over one because they just somehow the motifs seem to stand out, and as I showed you in the previous video, it was beautifully finished as a tiny little round with beads and ribbon around the edges. So that was the next one. Let's see. Now going down the list, I think I do have third place. After that, it's kind of a muddle actually, because everything sold, but of course some appeal to people more than others, and we always know that when we release our designs, that some are just going to strike your fancy and others are probably aimed at a smaller group, which is fine. So the next one that I want to share with you is Lucia's Sewing Smalls, and this is what the booklet looks like. These were stitched again on a 36 count American chestnut linen from R&R. See if I can open the book for you. That's going to be tough for me. So on the inside, it shows the other models. So there are actually three models that go with Lucia Smalls. And the first one, let me review those again, is the little scissor case. And I love that. And if you can't find the linen that I used, please, there are hundreds of linens on the market. This is a very pale neutral. It would be easy to replicate it. So this is one of the models. It's just a little basket of flowers. And then I also did a little scissor fob and designed a little rose to go in for that design. And that is just finished with some pretty little fabric on the back. And then, actually there are four models. I forgot about that. Nothing like being gone for a long time to remind you what you're doing, right? So this is the next model. I'm trying to see okay, I'm going to turn it this way. So this is a little needle case, and if I open it up, you'll see inside there's just a little piece of wool for you to put your needles on. And then the last piece was a little drum. And I don't think last time I had these yet, but Teresa and Anna with Jersey Girl Pin Company make these beautiful, beautiful pins. And so they made pins especially to go with this set. And I love how they turned out. I'm going to be giving away 2 sets of pins today. So stay tuned to find out how to get those. So let's see here. I'm trying to be organized and figure out where to put everything. And as I say, I've forgotten how to do this. So the next couple models that I'm going to show you that were released in Nashville, this is called With Gratitude. I love, love, love how the colors look. Let's pull out that booklet. So this was framed by L&M Framing, which is in Ohio. And I always have to write myself notes to remind myself what to put in the notes below. I will give you her information on how to reach Lisa. She does a beautiful job. She frames many of my pieces. This is what the booklet looks like for this design. And I will admit to you that I was a little disappointed. Sometimes it's very hard to get a photograph that truly is an accurate representation of what the model looks like. And I am a bit disappointed in this one. It still shows most of the design, but I feel like seeing it in person, seeing the model in person is such a difference from just seeing a picture of it. So on the inside of this booklet there is a picture of the whole piece, and of course this would be an ideal design to take elements out of and use for the smalls. So I could see a little small made up of the birds that are on here. I already used this in Lucia's sewing smalls. You could do a small using this little design, the basket, the roses, etc. And the wording on this reads, "Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul." And my theme last year when I was doing my videos was gratitude, and that's how I decided upon using a quote to use in this design. And I love the way that turned out. So then there are 3 others that are left. Let's see here. This one is called Le Petite Lettres. And I had fun, as you know, I love doing alphabets, finding lowercase alphabets in many of my French books and borders from antique samplers, and that's what I used to design this piece. This is what the booklet looks like for that design. And I also stitched a second model of it. You know how much I love blue, in blue. I have to think of where did I put that model. I've forgotten where I put it actually. This was stitched on a 36 count, the red model was stitched on a 36 count fox and rabbit fabric in the color Mayflower, which again is a very, very soft neutral. And the blue one was stitched on a beautiful pale blue linen from Needle Bling. I should write that down for you. And the color of that was Lightning. It's just the softest, palest blue. It's really lovely. So that is what this design and booklet looks like. All right, and then there are 2 more. I did a sampler that I replicated a sampler that I bought at an estate sale last spring. And I love this sampler because Hannah's name, the date, and the school that she went to was included. So if you are into doing red samplers for your sampler wall, this would be a really sweet one to do. Let's see, this is what the booklet looks like. The model was stitched on a 28 count antique ivory linen over 1 ply of floss, but of course you could do it over 2. You know I always tell you to choose the fabric and the fibers that you love. Make it your own. You do not have to follow what we as designers choose for our models. And then, let's see here. The last set of models that I have to show you is from a book that I called French Baby Samplers. And this was so much fun to put together. I had heard from other shop owners that they needed baby designs. And so I had been designing these for many years. There's a whole series, as you know, of French country samplers. And so I chose 6 or 7, I've forgotten actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe there's 8 in here. Let's look and see. Since yes, it is 8 samplers. So I can show you some of the models I have here today. Each page has not only the chart, but a full-scale picture of what the design looks like. And they actually are quite quick to stitch. I thought that they would be perfect for baby gifts or a shower gift. And you could put the baby's name at the bottom. In this case, with the carriage, I just put the French word for baby. And this was finished as a stand-up by my friend Karen. I love how that turned out. There are 2 rabbits in this booklet. One is a standing bunny, and that was just finished as a flat with really pretty pink fabric on the back and cording. She just adds such beautiful touches. She told me one day she gets these little pearl, can you see those? The little pearl pins in the bridal department at Hobby Lobby, which I had not looked in before. So I thought, oh, that's a good source. The French country teddy bear, again, you could use the baby's name, the date. These were all stitched over 2, and I think this might be that needle bling linen that I talked about just a few minutes ago that's in lightning. I think that's just such a beautiful color linen. So she mounted this on a plaque, a wooden plaque she found at Hobby Lobby, and what I like about it is it could be a stand-up. And then I just have one other model from that booklet to show you here today, and that is the sitting bunny. And what I love about what she did with this finish, it was finished in a little tin, and on the inside she made a little pillow, and you can make it any shape you want, and she put a little pocket for a tooth fairy pillow. And I thought, what a great idea. A little child could keep their baby teeth in this little box. So that was the last of the releases in Nashville. So thank you for looking at those once again. Now, what's my next step? So one of the things that I like to do is I like to show you designs that, I have to keep moving my notes right and left here to get everything in order, designs that people have sent in to me that they have stitched, and I love seeing their finishes. So I have a Facebook page called Friends of JBW Designs, and you just have to go on and answer a few simple questions to join that group, and I welcome you to join, because hopefully you'll be inspired by the things that people post. So this is from my friend Merritt, and she did the Eliza's French birds, and she found a box to found a box to use and put the model on the lid of the box. And I just thought it turned out beautifully. And this is what the Eliza's French birds, that came out a year ago, but it's still fun to show you. Let's see, I need to make space for myself here, what things look like. And then Merritt also finished, and this was a book of smalls from a year ago also. This is from Eliza's Sewing Smalls, and I want you to study, I know this picture is small, I want you to study this picture, because she has placed these in a tray with a two-tone pink polka dot fabric, and I didn't notice that until I printed it off, and I thought, oh, what a beautiful, beautiful display. And so in this booklet, again, there are, I think there are just 3 designs in this one. There's a little pillow, like a pin pillow. There is a little scissor case, and then a scissor fob. And this is what that booklet looks like. So I'm sure I'm going to take a while today, since I haven't been with you for a while, but hopefully you're okay with that. And I do have some life updates to share at the end of the video. So I already have had several people post pictures of the Georgian floral basket, and this is from Terry C. And she said, just wait, and I'll show you my finish when I get it all done. So she has it all stitched, and of course we can't wait to see what she does with that. This is the model that I told you about that I liked so well, of that very same design in a frame. Isn't that striking? So I'm off to the framer today to hopefully find something that will look as good as this one. And this was sent to me by Kathy P. So thank you, Kathy. You just did a beautiful job with that. Let's see. The next model that was sent to me was from Carrie Jo. And she just finished the Bluebirds of Happiness, which came out a couple years ago. And that booklet looks like this. And we've had many, many people stitch this. I taught this at a retreat, and then it was released a couple months after the retreat. This also has several smalls within the booklet. I don't know that I can show them to you because the charts are right next to them. So maybe I can tell you about them. Let's see, how can I do this? So there is a little pillow here with one of them. There is a little needle case with one of them. Let's see. Oh, this is awkward, isn't it? There's a little pin keep with one of them. And then there's a scissor fob. So sorry for all the rattling, but I thought that might inspire you if you're looking for more smalls. Then I got quite a kick out of this picture. I didn't even know about this. So this picture is a stitch along from the Stitchers of Status. Am I pronouncing that right? I think it is. And they're from Memphis, Tennessee, and they are all stitching the When Cardinals Appear design. So you can see they're all at different places right now. One has it framed and finished. Several have great starts. They all chose different fabrics, and I'm guessing they all chose different counts too. So I want to thank you, Stitchers of Memphis, for doing this sale. I was so honored to see that picture, and this is what that booklet looks like, When Cardinals Appear. And this one came out a year ago and really struck a chord with a lot of people. And I truly believe in this quotation, when cardinals appear, loved ones are near. And when I see a cardinal out on my bird feeder, I always think, oh, what a blessing. Someone who I've lost is stopping in to visit. So I think that's why people have liked it so much, because we've all experienced loss in our lives. The next one that I want to show you, I thought was so clever, and I forgot to write down who sent this to me. So if you're watching this and you were the sender, please help me remember, and thank you in person again. So this stitcher took the designs, which are in Petite Cottages, which is just a set of 3 little houses, and she stitched them on banding and made a little bell pull out of it. And that's the first time I'd seen that finish for this design. So I was just so tickled with how it turned out. I love seeing finishes that are different than I've done, that have used different fabrics and different fibers. It's always a real treat. Let's see, this model is from my friend Karen, and her finishing is just gorgeous. She did the Winter in the Round, and that booklet looks like this. I mounted it on a little box, but she found this beautiful snowflake, wooden snowflake to mount it on, and I just thought it turned out beautifully. She has a little hanger at the top. What a great piece that will be in the winter time for your winter displays. And then she also sent this one to me, and it is called Birds in the Round. And the funny thing about this is like a wooden daisy piece that is manufactured by Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to put the SKU number in my notes below. The funny thing is, I had bought this very same wooden piece over a year ago and couldn't decide like what model do I want to put on this. So Karen did the birds in the round, which is this booklet, but I just recently restitched the bees in the round design, and I'm sending it to Karen, and she's going to finish my bees in the round on this wooden plaque, and I just think it's going to be a wonderful model. Sometimes I don't know why I do more models. It's just fun to do others when I get inspired. So that is the end of my pictures of things that people have sent in. And now my next, let's see, let me look at my notes here, double check. Okay, let me take a quick sip of tea. So today's theme is going to be spring. Now I live in Michigan. I hate to say it, but spring is just beginning here. Our daffodils are up. We're getting green on our shrubbery, but if you looked out my window at my trees out here, they're as brown can be. So it'll be probably end of May before I'll be able to open my blinds and once again, because we live in the woods, see my beautiful green trees. So as you can imagine, we're very anxious. So I just pulled out, I don't know, 5 or 6 designs that kind of inspired spring, that I think inspire spring stitching. So I'm going to share those with you. Some of them you probably have seen in other videos, but you know, if I have new people, I always hope to inspire somebody with the designs that I share with you. So this is a very interesting piece. I meant to pull out the antique of this. So this is called Hannah's Bluebird Sampler. And this is actually the sampler that I purchased a couple years ago that inspired the Bluebirds design that I showed you earlier. And this was the original complete design. And what attracted me to it is I loved this border. I just thought it was so beautiful. We don't know, of course, the complete name of the stitcher. We know her last name is, oh, I'm going to mispronounce this. Rob, I better not try. Whatever I do is going to sound goofy, right? So it was stitched in 1908. I loved, one of the things that's interesting about this is some of the borders. So there's just part of an alphabet. There's this wonderful zigzag border. I have never figured out like what is the meaning of the letters that run along the top here. I've looked and looked, and we've talked about it in other videos. It is a mystery. I have a feeling it has a meaning, and it could be in reference to a verse in the Bible, but I do not know the answer to that. And then she has a couple little other borders up here at the top, and this wonderful little motifs down at the bottom. So I thought, oh, anything with birds and flowers makes me think of spring. So that's the first one I wanted to show you. And then I had to pull this out again because I just talked about it. This is the model for When Cardinals Appear. And of course that's just full of spring elements. The birds, the cherries, the flowers, the vines, the basket. And once again, I think you could use any of these elements in little smalls. So that was my next piece. I showed you the booklet for that one already. My next piece is called An Elegant Alphabet. And I also, with this one, once again, used elements that are in antique samplers. So the swans, the bird with the letter, the borders, these birds down here, all of the alphabets are taken from antique pieces. This is what this booklet looks like that goes with An Elegant Alphabet. And I decided, like I've done with many of mine, that it would be fun to take this piece and take out some of the little elements and make smalls. Once again, this also was framed by Lisa at L&M Framing. Isn't that beautiful? So let me show you the smalls that I did. I decided to do a tiny little pillow using the bird with the letter in his beak. And I just finished it with twisted cording, a little button at the bottom. And then I also took one of the elements and did a scissor fob. And those are so quick to stitch. They would make wonderful gifts if you're going to a retreat and you need to take gifts for your table mates. Those kind of little designs would work really well. Now the next one I want to show you, well, I talked to you about it in another sequence just a few minutes ago, but this is what one of my models looks like for birds in the round. So I stitched this one over one, and I found just a little easel frame at Hobby Lobby, and I just clipped, and it had the clothespin at the top already, so that's how it is attached to this, and it just sits on a desk like that. And you've seen that booklet. I pulled out rabbits in the round, and I know Easter is past, but this design is probably one of my most popular in the round designs, and it was actually inspired by a piece of fabric that I had. It wasn't this piece of fabric, but it was a similar one that had rabbits running all over it, and I decided that I would search through all the antique samplers and find rabbits that were used in the antique samplers and incorporate those into a round design. So this particular model is stitched over one, but I also, let's see if I can show you a picture of it. There's not a picture of it in this booklet. So actually I finished this over two as a lid on a paper mache box. And then on the inside of the lid, I lined it with fabric, and I took one of the designs. Actually, no, this was an extra design in the booklet. Oh, I shouldn't show you the chart. I'll just show it to you real quickly. It was a little rabbit with an umbrella, and I stitched that little piece to go on the inside of the paper mache lid. So it's just kind of a fun finish. I do that often with boxes. So I have two more to show you today that are in the spring category. Whoops, all right, sometimes I need to put things back together because I get them out and I realize that they've been at a trunk show and they might have been handled before. So let me tell you about this one. This is called Les Jardins Needlework Accessories, and the finisher that did this work is incredible. This was finished as an open fold flat with wool inside for your needles and little hooks for your fibers. The design was stitched on black, and let's see if I can tell you what count. I did it on a 32 count Belfast black. She finished it with a ribbon here. As I say, there are two flats that are connected in the middle. Can you see how they're how the two pieces are connected together with a little tie down here at the base? And then the other designs that are in this booklet are a little scissor case, and of course you could stitch it on another color fabric if you're not keen on black. And then of course I had to do a little scissor fob, and that has a little beaded edge on it. So those reminded me of spring. And then the last one I have is called French Flower Cart. And I always thought this had such a great spring vibe to it. Let's kind of fix this a little bit. So this is mounted on a cube, and you can see the little feet at the bottom and the ribbon that goes around the outer edges. And this is another case of a booklet that the model in person looks great. The photo on the cover is not as crisp as I would like it to be. So this is what the booklet looks like. So you have to trust me that the model itself is lovely, and yes, this isn't great, but you'd be happy with it. as a finished piece to give away or for yourself. So that is the end of my model sharing today. I have not done a lot of shopping, actually, believe it or not, in the last month for supplies. The only thing that I have bought, and I ordered these before I left, and they actually came, I think, in bits and pieces, and I can't remember if I showed you this before, so bear with me. So these, I ordered two fabrics from French General. They have the most beautiful fabrics. I'm sure most of you are familiar with them. You can go on their website, FrenchGeneral.com, and you can buy fairly small pieces of their, I think I bought like a half a yard of a blue, which is a new line for them. And then they had this, which is from their red line. And I just buy them to have them in my stash to use for finishing. So this shows the postcard with the name of the red line of fabrics. They just do a fabulous job. So those were my only purchases. So now, how do I choose giveaways? So I look back at my last video and I use the random number generator, and I choose 3 people who have made comments just randomly, and I will tell you if your name is called that you can just email me. That's really the best and only way to reach me. It's Judy at JBWDesigns.com, and tell me what design I showed today in my video, and I will send it to you for free. So be sure to send me an email and send me your address. So these are my 3 winners for today. Elizabeth, A.R., Joyce, C.L.O.W.S., and Jen, J.E.N., Cooper, K.O.O.P.E.R. 8. So if you hear your name announced today, you can choose a booklet. You can also choose, where did I put them? Oh, here they are. You might want to select a set of pins from Jersey Girl Pin Company because they sent me extras. So they're beautiful. So I have 2 sets of those I could give away. If those aren't chosen this week, I will give them in my next video. So let's see, what else do I want to tell you about today? My quotation today, I've decided to focus on kindness because I think it's needed. And so my quotation is, you never know just how enormous a small act of kindness can be. And I think that we need to do that. We need to spread kindness to strangers. Just, say something nice about how they look today, or ask them how they're doing, and to our friends at every chance we get. So I have some life updates. I have a little picture here to share with you. So when we were in Florida, we were very lucky. Our children and their spouses came down, and it was staggered visits. It was over quite a few days, and people came and they stayed a few days, but and all of our grandchildren, including our great-granddaughter, except for Liam, and we missed him. He is still in college, and his spring break did not coordinate with when we had our rental. So the joy of being down, staying at our condo, was that our grandson Wyatt and his wife Kylie and the baby stayed with us. And I can't tell you how happy that made my husband and I to get up every morning and see this happy little face toddle out with a big smile. She's such a sweetie pie. We try not to show her face, but I can show you just a side view. So one of the things I did for her, as we didn't have any toys there, and I thought, oh, babies love water. So there was a low coffee table in our unit, and it wasn't an antique, but I covered it in thick towels, and then I got out a little, like a pie plate, and I filled it with shells and water that I'd found on the beach. And that's what she's doing right here. I'd gotten her some little play tools, And every morning she'd go over and she'd play in the water, she'd play with the shells. It was just so much fun, and it kept her occupied pretty much every day all week long, which was fun. So, and I know how lucky I am to be able to spend time together. So now is going to be a really hard thing to talk to you about. And if I start crying, you'll know why. So when I was down in Nashville, my best friend's daughter, Sarah, was my helper down there. And Sarah has helped me in the past. She's like a daughter to me. And Sarah has gone through a really hard time the last few years with many breast cancer surgeries. And when I saw her at the beginning of March, she was doing really well. We found out last week she was having some symptoms that she, was concerned. She knew her cancer could reoccur. It has come back as a brain tumor. She was operated on last Friday, and it is malignant. And we're just devastated by the news, as you can imagine. And I know that many of you are facing the same kind of things that we are, with family members and friends who have cancer, and it is so hard. So I just had to share that with you and ask for your prayers. It's a hard time for a lot of you, and for me too. So send your positive thoughts to Sarah and my friend Connie and her family. I think I've told you just about everything I can today. I do have an Instagram. It's judy.whitman, and I'll write all this information below. And just, I know there's one other thing I forgot to show you. Sorry about that. It came to me at the very end here. So this was my limited edition kit that I was selling in Nashville. And it is called A Sweet, I have to look at my notes because I can't remember the titles, A Sweet Springtime Songbird. And this was so much fun to design. I actually got out one of our bird books and thought, okay, I'll use this. I'm not sure it's a bluebird. It's just one that I charted and designed, and I liked the way it turned out. So the kit contains actually this scalloped board. It contains the floss to do the cording, the charm, the linen, the chart, etc. And I still have quite a few left. So if it's something that you're interested in, contact your local shop and ask them. We've sold an enormous number, but I still have some left. And then once they're gone, they're gone. And if you don't have anybody that you can order from, you can write to me and we'll figure out how to do this. So incidentally, my website is still not working. So that's kind of it's a long process, right? So thank you so much for watching. I just love visiting with you again, and I'm so grateful for all of you. You have become just wonderful friends. So hopefully I won't wait 2 months to come back, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.